Let me tell you about Walter. He was my second husband. Well, technically, he was my second and third husband. The minister who married us was somewhat defrocked about 6 months after the ceremony. So Walter insisted that we get a new one. Well, this time, we got a lawyer when we married again. Walter said that no matter what his morals were, we'd still be legal. Walter wanted everything to be just right. He craved for everything to be just right. Not once throughout our marriage did he fail to mention that. Mussolini, say what you want about him. He always got the trains to run on time in Italy. And then he would repeat Italy with a can you beat that tone? See, that's the problem with Walter, okay? He would always repeat that in the can you beat that tone? Walter, see, he really doesn't say anything anymore. He answers all his questions with these grunts. Even when he's eating, he'll tell me to pass him something with the grunts. I told him one time that he looked like a Buddhist monk. See, Walter, he doesn't say much anymore. He just grunts. He just makes these grunting sounds. He'll be reading the sports section and he'll just tell me to pass him something and he'll just grunt again. Oh, it's so frustrating. He'll just grunt. Are you even listening? He'll be reading the sports section of the newspaper. They'll tell me to hand him something and then he'll just grunt. You may wonder, Walter's been in the basement fixing the water heater. He's been down there for a long time. He doesn't say much. You may wonder how someone can survive without food or water or anything, but I don't anymore.
So Walter, my third husband, and technically he's my second and my third. I know I didn't tell you this, but the minister got defrocked a couple months after the ceremony. I know, isn't that crazy? So, Walter, he insisted we get married again, except this time with the judge, so no matter his morals, he knew that we'd be legal. And he wants things to be right. He craves for things to be right. Not once in our marriage has he failed to mention the say what you want about him. Mussolini never failed to have the trains run on time in Italy, and then repeats the word Italy in this can you believe that tone? But, one of each, please. Recently, Walter's just stopped talking, and some sugar, please. He just answers with hmms, and what was I saying? Oh, yeah. And sometimes, he punctuates the noise and the silence with hmms and ohms. One time I told him, you sound like a Buddhist monk, and as I was explaining the sounds to him, he just flipped to the sports page. But Walter's been in the basement. He's been there for about 3 months now, and you may wonder how someone may function without food or water for that time. But I don't anymore.
Oh, come on in. See, I'm gonna tell you about Walter. Well, you see, Walter, he's my third husband. I guess he's technically my second and my third husband. See, the minister that married us, he kind of got like defrocked about 6 months after the ceremony. But Walter insisted that we marry again. But this time, we got a judge. No matter what his morals were, he wanted to make sure we were just legal. He wanted things to be right. He craved for things to be just right. Not once in our marriage has he ever failed to mention whenever the trains would be late. But say what you want about him, but Mussolini got the trains to run on time in Italy. Then he would repeat Italy with his voice in the air signifying a, can you beat that tone? But all of a sudden, he just stopped talking. You see, he only answers things, in grunts. And at meals, he only points to things when he wants them. He occasionally punctuates silence with hums. And one time, I told him that he sounded like a Buddhist monk. But he asked me why, and I tried to explain to him the hums and the ums, but he was already switched to the sports page. Okay. He's in the basement. You see, he's just fixing the water heater. He's been down there for 3 months. Well, you may wonder how somebody could survive without food or water, but I totally could work.
Hun, okay, I got something to tell you. No, okay, can you stop doing the dishes for a second? I got something to tell you. Yeah, just sit down, just sit down. So, I don't mind if I suppose you iron. So, while I was on my way home from work today, I ran a red light, and I crashed into someone. No one was hurt, just a few $100 in damages. And so this cop shows up, and well, I told him the truth because there were witnesses. And so as well, me and this cop get to talking, and well, we find out we went to the same high school in Chicago. And well, and then our eyes connect, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh, I forgot to tell you, it was a lady cop. No, I don't like creases in my shirts. They look tacky. And so, well, I go to work, and so I go along my usual day, and I go to my usual taco stand for lunch, and so then all of a sudden there's the lady cop. Can you hear me? I can't talk to you when you're vacuuming. And so now, as I was saying, so what do you mean? What do you mean about the lawn? What do you mean, hooray?
Let me tell you about Walter. He was my third husband. Well, second and third husband. The minister who married us was kind of defrocked about 6 months after the ceremony, so Walter insisted we marry again. He thought no matter our morals, we would always be legal. Walter always wanted things to be right. He always wanted things to be just right. He always said, and say what you want about him, that Mussolini always got the trains to run on time in Italy. And then he would repeat Italy in that light, airy tone, like, can you beat that? But Walter doesn't talk much anymore. He just talks in grunts and moans and points to things. You may wonder how someone could be in the basement for 3 months without any food or water, but I don't anymore.
Hun, we have to talk. I can't talk to you when you're doing the dishes. Good. No, I don't mind if you iron. Just sit down. On my way to work today, I ran a stoplight, and somebody ran into me. Nobody was hurt, just a few $100 damages. This cop shows up and asks what happened. I have to tell the truth. Besides, there were witnesses. So I get cited for running a light. Me and this cop are talking, and it seems we went to the same high school in Chicago. It's great. Here's the crazy part. Suddenly, we were yakking away, and suddenly our eyes clicked. No, I forgot to mention, cop was a lady. Well, hun, I don't like creases in the sleeves. They look tacky. But then I snap out of it and I go to work. Then I go to my usual taco stand for lunch. And there she is, the lady cop. Hun, please don't start the dishes. What are you doing? I can't talk to you over the vacuum. Can you hear me? This is kind of important. This is kind of, please turn it off. I know it's weird and I can't understand it. Forget the lawn. Aren't you going to say something? What do you mean already?
Hey, hon, we have to talk. I can't talk to you when you're doing the dishes. I don't mind if you iron. Okay. So I was on my way to work when I ran a red light and, someone crashed into me and there was only a few $100 damages. Nobody was hurt. Anyways, a cop pulled me over, and I couldn't have lied. There were witnesses, okay? Yeah, and I know. So we get to talking, me and the cop, and it turns out that we went to the same high school in Chicago, and we got to yakking away, and just like the weirdest thing happened. Well, our eyes clicked. I mean, the cop was a lady. Oh! Ow! So I snapped out of it. Anyways, hun, you know I don't like creases in the sleeves. They look tacky. But then I snapped out of it, and I went to work. And then I went to my usual taco stand for lunch, and there was the lady cop. So, we finished lunch, and then we went to her place. don't go for the lawnmower. I know this is kind of weird, but I don't quite understand it, and I'm sorry, but
Hooray.
what do you mean, hooray?
Let me tell you about Walter. You know he's my third husband. Well, technically he's my second and my third husband. Yeah, that minister, he was sort of defrocked about 6 months after the ceremony. So, you know, he insisted we marry again. That time we got a judge. But he always wants things to be legal. You know how he is. And he craves for things to be right. He always wants things to be right. Not once in our marriage, you know, did he fail to mention that, say what you want about him, but Mussolini got the trains to run on time in Italy. Then he always raises his voice in the air, signifying Italy with a, can you beat that tone? In the past year, Walter just stopped talking. He just answers all questions with grunts. At meals, he just points to things when he wants them. And that's the only sound he ever makes. He punctuates the silence with hms and ohms. I told him once he sounded like a Buddhist monk, and he just asked, why? And then he just flips to the sports page. Walter's in the basement. He's been in there for 3 months. He's fixing the water heater. You may wonder how someone can survive without food or water, but I don't anymore.
Let me tell you about Walter. He's my third husband. Well, technically, he's my second and my third husband. The minister who married us was sort of defrocked about 6 months after the ceremony. Walter insisted we marry again. This time, we got a judge. Walter felt that no matter his morals, we'd still be legal. Walter wants everything to be just right. He craves for things to be right. Not once has he failed to mention in our marriage that, say what you want about him, Mussolini got the trains to run on time in Italy. Then he repeats the word Italy with his voice in the air, signifying a can you beat that tone? In the last few weeks, Walter has stopped talking. At meals, he points to things when he wants them. When he asks questions, he just grunts. When he reads the newspaper, he occasionally makes a and sound. And one day I told him he sounded like a Buddhist monk. And when I got lost trying to explain the hms and the ums, he flipped to the sports page. Walter's in the basement. He's been there for 3 months. You may wonder how someone can survive for 3 months without food or water, but I don't anymore.
Hun, you have to listen. Can you listen? I can't talk to you while you're doing dishes. Can you sit down, please? No, I don't mind you crying. Just listen. On my way to work today, I ran a stoplight and somebody hit the car. Nobody was hurt. We have a few $100s worth of damage. The other car just scraped the paint. And then, anyway, this officer showed up and asked what happened. I told the truth. Besides, there were witnesses. I get cited for running the run light and everything. And me and the officer started talking. It seems all of a sudden we were yakking away, all of a sudden our eyes connected, and something clicked. Oh, no, the cop was a lady. Anyway, hun, this is the crease. Hun, I don't like creases in the sleeves. That looks tacky. Anyway, hon, anyway, I snapped out of it, so I got my usual taco stand for lunch today, and, and there she is, the lady cop. Hon, don't start the dishes. But anyway, hon, what are you doing? It is hard to talk over a vacuum. Hon, can you hear me? Hon, this is kind of important. I know it's weird, I don't understand it. Just listen. Yes, hon, yeah. Hon, where are you going? Forget about the lawn.
Hooray!
What do you mean, hooray? What am I doing? You're not telling me what...
All right, is that it?
Yeah.